Well, hi guys, thanks for joining me here. This is going to be a workshop of sorts. Well, I'd probably call it more a training than a workshop because I'm not going to ask you to complete anything on your end, which is what a workshop normally involves. This is going to be more about sitting back and just taking in some philosophy. That's why I've called it the business planning philosophy rather than the business planning. Let's do it. The reason for that is in life, most of what we do and don't do relates to whether we agree with the philosophy behind it. And let's look at philosophy as being something deeply profound that links with our deeper beliefs. And the most influential philosophies and philosophers have created a shift in our beliefs and our let's call it our intelligence and our awareness of what has brought about our creation, our evolution, and our deepest way of thinking and feeling. And also they've brought about shifts in highlighting our greatness and where our weaknesses might be. So we're talking about a philosophy, and that's why philosophy is important. So business planning is never going to be something that you do unless you agree with the philosophy behind it. And the philosophy I've created here in this short workshop, and it's going to be 45 minutes to an hour, is that your business plan is fundamental to everything you do. Okay? It is the key starting component in your business that's going to be the difference between your success and your failure. I'm not saying it's the only thing, but it's one of the key elements. And that's the thing about business. Business is a fine ecosystem of many elements. And your job as the business owner is to create that fine balance between the elements, okay? So what I would ask is that you assess whether you're doing that, and the ease of doing that becomes enhanced when you are using a business plan as your starting point, rather than just starting with a randomness or starting with a lot of things up here. Because anytime we have too much here, it does create overwhelm, it does create confusion, it does create potential stress, and it creates the inability to release the creativity because we get blockages, okay? And it creates stuckness. So a business plan allows you to release those ideas in a way that is structured, and then for you to be able to then refer back to that original set of ideas. Okay, now I'm just going to share a screen here and get going, and so you don't have to just look at my face for most of the rest of this. How good's that? And I'm just going to do my best to look professional here. And share screen. Okay, that's what I want to do. Here we go. Let's hope this works. Okay, now I assume you're looking at this screen, and therefore, if for the rest of this meeting you're not looking at the screen, please give me a little word by just saying, hey, it's not working. Okay. Let's go slideshow. Good, okay. I'd say you're seeing this. So the business planning philosophy. Now, here we go. This is why most small businesses fail within the first 5 years, because despite the fact that they get offered opportunities to do things easier, 90% of them will do things the hard way. I love this very, very simple depiction of our humanity's way sometimes of just taking the freaking hard road. We're addicted sometimes to whoosh, our own self-punishment, and we do that through habit. You know, this is the thing about habit, is we continue to do the things that we know, despite the fact that what we know isn't giving us the outcomes we want. But we'll just do the things we know because it's more comfortable, it's simpler. Therefore, to shift the outcomes you want, it's important to do things differently, and business planning for most people is different. So let's move away from that and let's move into a space where we are not doing this. Stop this right now. Don't just get stuck on doing the familiar. Get out of your comfort zone. Okay. Business success has increased from 10% up to 70%. It's a big number shift. Only if the leader of the business does the following three things. The first one, create and implement a plan. Yep. And in combination with that, secondly, if the business leader works on rather than in the business. And this is very challenging for small business owners. I know when they want to get their hands in there, and it could be a chef in a cafe, or it could be a electrician starting up, or it could be a marketing social media person who just does all the social media, and then they grow their business around them because they work in rather than on. And fair enough, sometimes there's a stage where in matters. However, more often than not, the ones that fail, they stayed in rather than on for too long. So there's that delicate balance. Know when to move into the on phase and spend quite a bit of time on, even if you've got to juggle both. The next one, on the last one, sounds like I'm self-pitching, but it's true. Business owners that have got an objective advisory team, accountants, lawyers, a very good business mentor, even a dad or a mum or an uncle or an auntie, a grandpa, a mentor. Yeah. And if not, coach. That's what we do. We provide an outside in look in, and we provide accountability. We provide the ability to feel like someone else is on your side who's got an objective point of view. These three things, these three elements together combine to a 70% shift, from 10% to 70% chance of success, small to medium businesses. Okay. So let's get stuck into today. This is it. This is our 5 main elements for business coaching, for business planning. Okay. And I've created this in a slightly different format. Actually, it's uniquely different format. This is only my way of doing this, and therefore you will find many other ways in which business plans are taught and expressed. I've tried to express it in this unique way. And I want us to look at the business plan through 5 key categories. The business why, which is your vision. The business what, which is your mission. The business who, which is the stakeholders. Business how, the processes. And the business when, which is the forecasts. Okay, and we'll step through these now in the subsequent slides, okay? So, philosophy time. The secret behind the business plan. What makes it effective? 3 big words staring at you. Focus, intention, direction. Do you have these 3? A lot of small business owners start with intention. Yeah. Or they start with direction. Yeah. Or they start with a period of focus. And then business happens. A client has an issue. A staff member calls in sick. A virus hits. And all of a sudden, focus, intention, and direction are given a royal boot in the butt. And what happens? Whirlwind. Yeah. Okay. And so having a business plan creates the ability to continue in a focused and intentional and in a directed manner, despite the ups and downs and hurdles and emotional challenges that you are going to face as a business owner, because these things will happen. The business plan does create that. That's one of the secret sources of a business plan. The second part is this really cool image. And I love it because this is the heart and soul of everything that is humanity's momentum, motivation. Another key part of direction, focus, intention is that they combine to give you motivation, okay? And the other way, when you've got motivation, you can more likely have focus, intention, direction, okay? However, the source behind motivation is understanding that we as human beings operate best when we are in the towards cycle. So on your screen, the towards part, it creates healthy behaviors. It creates a focus on something that we are moving towards, that we identify with, that we desire, that we want. And it creates a truth about our direction. The opposite of that is when we are living in a cycle of, I want to move away. This is the truth of 90% plus of our day-to-day humanizing, okay? And I say 90% plus is because 90% of us are living in an income bracket or a financial scenario or an emotional state or a spiritual state that is less than what is making us genuinely happy, okay? That's true. Okay, most people want to earn a bit more money. They want to feel more freedom. They want to feel that they are living a life that's fruitful. 90% feel there's something missing. Okay, the reason being they're stuck in this away model. They are focused on what they don't want to have, what they don't want to be. You know, I don't want to be this parent. I don't want to be this thing that I see on TV. Oh, geez, I'd hate to be that person that I saw there. Or I dislike this, or this is not good. We create those visuals a lot more than we create what we want. Yeah. Listen out for that when you hear people talking. There is more of a conversation of what we don't want than what we want, okay? And so you'll pick that up. And what happens with that is when you're in a away model, you're focusing on what you want so you'll get it more. You are trying to get away from things that hurt. And so you feel those things and therefore you're carrying them with you. Guess what a business plan is all about? It's creating a towards personality. And when you do that, you are avoiding this, focusing on what you don't want, becoming easily influenced and being pulled in multiple directions just by what you hear, what you see, what's around you, the feelings around you. And you start believing the masses. You start believing what somebody says about business. You start believing what another person who's struggling tells you is the reason. Then you start creating excuses and stories. Oh, this happened because of this, or it was because of COVID, or you just can't get good staff on the Gold Coast, or my industry is really hard because my industry's blah, blah, blah. And you then start living in fear. And then inspiration just gets shot. And that's what can happen without a business plan. Believe it or not, simply without a business plan, these things can happen. A business plan switches all this around, yeah? Let's get stuck into it a little bit, hey? Let's get stuck into the nuts and bolts then, now that I've created some philosophy and some significant clarity around why business planning is so important, and the word why stands out here. But here, this first part here isn't about the business plan, why we do it. This is about you now, starting to put your mind frame in the why am I doing business philosophy. And Simon Sinek says people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. If you're not aware of Simon Sinek, just look him up, great TED Talks, and the title slipped my mind, a great book in relation to leadership and the most successful enterprises, how they always communicate through their why. And we'll, the brief behind that is that you want to share the genuine reason behind what's inspired you, what makes you driven to bring this product and service to the market, your true why. So for Apple, for example, their why is because they want people to think different. They want the world to become a better place. Nike, just do it. You know, that's their deeper why. Is it's part of just having that flow. And so with your business why, you want to bring the vision into life. And you do that through a vision statement, where you, in your business plan, you share what the dream is and you identify the deepest reason and you put it down in the plan. You then create a very clear picture of what the client gets from your product, the problem you solve for them. Okay. You then talk about the culture that you will bring in, the qualities that your business will be known for. You know, will you be known for innovation? Will you be known for creating ease? Will you be known for creating flexibility? Will you be known for being a loyal company? Will you be known because you want to give best value? What is your deepest culture set? And therefore, what is the legacy that you will leave behind? The trademark that will stay after you've gone. Okay, that's the deepest part about culture, is it endures time. Yeah, and that's the last part there, the team trademark. You know, the behaviors that will be acceptable and honored within your team, even if it's just you for now. Be clear on that, because then you understand more about you and you can communicate that. Now, imagine when you do this, and this could take you, let's call it, could take you an hour, could take you 10, could take you half, but it could take you an hour. And if you just do these 4 points of your why, when you're talking to someone about your business and you've written this down, you can then express your why, culture, your trademark, what people get from your product succinctly, eloquently. It's funny when you can't say a word that's supposed to sound eloquently. And you can say it with precision that creates a confidence in the person that you're talking to, that you're here to sell them something that they're ready to buy. Okay. And so, you know, you want to be inspiring when you do this section, because that is what creates a standout, a unique selling proposition, a point of difference. So be inspiring if you'd like to stand out. And using this section, doing the why, enables you to be inspiring. Okay? And that gives the vision. It allows people to follow what you're doing because they believe in your product and service from a deeper level, rather than this is just something that I buy. I get this. This is something that I get in my heart. It links with my value. Your team culture links with me. Your trademark that you're leaving behind is a legacy that I want to be involved in, even if I purchase this product. And it does create that genuine, deeper connection point for you, together with your customers and also with your staff and all your stakeholders. Okay, so when you identify your why, you then attract the right people towards you. Going back to that motivation model, if I know what I'm focused on, what I'm moving towards, my why, I will attract the right people to help me get there. Yeah. And it doesn't create, then you're not stuck in this place where I can't get right staff or I get the wrong customers. You'll get the right ones, but you've got to be crystal clear. Okay, that's all we're going to do on that, you know, and that's the thing about this particular workshop. This is just me enhancing the philosophy behind it. And, you know, if you want to create this and build this, I can talk to you more about it outside of this workshop, step by step, expanding on these points. Yeah. And I will be writing a book specifically to extend all this, but for now, get in touch with me. Let's now jump into the second part of your business plan, which is the business what. And clearly now I've started to, you've seen the pattern. This is, what am I going to be doing in my business? Okay. What am I trying to achieve here? What's going on? And I love this quote by Warren Buffett, because it reminds us the value of bringing something, that what we do can have value. Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a very long time ago, you know, and this is the truth about great products that come to market, like Apple's iPhone or the Xerox machine or the telephone. We do all what we do today because of someone's greatness. And there is no reason that you should feel that in what you do doesn't create greatness on some level to someone. Yeah. So defining your what is important. And it's all about defining the mission. What's the mission going to be here? So the first step, create a mission statement to describe the intention. And by that, just going to move this here up a little bit so I can see that. You know, a mission statement can be along the lines of to be the leader in the provision of telecommunication services within the greater Gold Coast area. That's a mission. To be the most positive landscaper in mermaid waters. That means something. And if you mean something, you'll deliver it and others will just tap in. And if you as a landscaper can just be extremely busy and fulfilled because you make people feel good, everyone in mermaid waters knows Bob, he's a legend, you've achieved greatness. Okay, the mission statement. Within here, what am I going to do? What's my product or service? Define what you're selling. Pretty straightforward, yeah. Define it, and we're creating that technical definition now of what it is we are going to be selling, and it could be multiple items, of course, multiple products and services. Then we look at the geographic distribution. Like I said before, was it mermaid waters? Is it the greater Gold Coast area? Is it going to be national? Is it going to be international? So assess where you'll be based and where you will sell to, okay? Are you going to have offices everywhere? Are you just going to be here on the Gold Coast but selling internationally? Or are you going to have a head office in every state, selling to each state? Write these down. Hey, even if you're just starting with just you, build the architecture of your business in its biggest form right now, okay? That's how it happens. And that links with the next one, which is create here the bigger mission of the macro goals, which is what you are striving to achieve financially and physically. And for example, a macro goal may be that we are going to employ 500 people and we're going to have a office space that's 400 square meters, and we're going to have a profitability of $2.3 million by the year 2025. Can't believe that number just came out of my mouth. We have really flown ahead in time, okay? And that's it. That's the mission, okay? You create these 4 elements. There might have been a 5th one, that's right. And in that, I want you to put the icing on the cake by then knowing your strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats to enable the mission to become a reality. So do a SWOT analysis. If you're unaware of a SWOT, just Google it. There's a plethora of information online about SWOT. It's a go-to technique for anybody that's assessing whether they want to initiate a business or enter a new market or create a new product, or a personal SWOT analysis. What are my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? So strength and weakness, obviously. Opportunities are simply what opportunities do I have that I haven't thought of. So you will make assessments within the market, within the geography, within the actual product you're going to be offering. You'll assess competitors, so on and so forth, and look at your opportunities, understand your internal strengths and what opportunities that gives you. And then for the threats, through that same assessment, you will look what can give us grief, what challenges could we come across, and that could be because again, assessing our strengths and weaknesses, but also externally, and then becoming ready for that through a process of preparation. Okay. So the second part, this what, is all about intention. And when we're clear on our mission, it allows others to understand our journey. And they may join in and help us get to where we want to get to. Okay? So now you can see how these first two elements have combined. Okay? Going right through now onto the third part, the business who. And, the word who to some degree is very clear. So I'm going to go through this next section reasonably quickly, despite the fact that its relevance is enormous. Because the business who is talking about who am I going to do business with? The different stakeholders that are going to be around to make this business reality. Staff, clients, competitors, distributors. Who's going to be in my circle? And we know as a fact that this is the key multiplier in business growth, is the ability for a leader in business to influence, to rapport build, to direct, to guide, to enhance and grow those around them to create an amazing business relationship structure, a great network. And I love this Henry Ford saying, coming together is a beginning. Staying together, hey man, that's progress. But working together, that's success. And I've blown that many times in business. It's a skill that I keep striving to build and get better at and get better at and get better at and get better at. And in my financial services business, because prior to doing what I'm doing, I had a multiple financial services business, accounting, financial planning, so on and so forth. And I grew that with a great team around me, a great network, and I sold that and retired. There was a beautiful synchronization of network with my clients, with my competitors, with other strategic partners, and I grew an amazing product, and it mostly happened through the network that I built around me. But I still strive to get better at that every single day, because working together creates success. So let's looking at that. Who are your key stakeholders? Therefore, I want you to understand and define your ideal client. Take some time around that. Your staff, what does your organizational chart look like? Position description, so on and so forth. Familiarize yourself with your benchmark competitors and do a SWOT analysis on them. Create your team of advisors. And I spoke about this already before, and I'm repeating it now. Solicitor, accountant, insurance broker, finance broker, coach. Create that team. And finally, establish rapport and build a relationship with your funders. Understand how are you going to be funded, from whom. Is it going to be debt? Is it going to be equity? Is it going to be banks, or is it going to be private? There's some technical detail in all of this. The first two are much more self-sufficiently created by most business owners. They can fill in the first two, the why and the what. But now, as we get into the who and the next few parts, there's some technical elements that I can help with. Okay, so have a look at that, and we can talk about this further. And reach out to me. I'm happy to send you these slides as a reference point. But most importantly, actually, there is a blog I've written which does contain all that, so you can find that all on the blog. Okay. Who's with me? And this is a saying that I tend to finish most of my sessions with, so I'm not going to be able to finish with it today. It's that success isn't how high you climb. It's also about who you bring with you along the way, how many you carry, how many you help up along the way on this journey of success that you create. Because having that ivory tower, that lonely position up top, I know a lot of executives who I coach who are very unhappy up the top there. They're very unhappy despite the fact that they've got amazing success in many elements of their life. So creating that wonderful synergy of people around you to go along creates a journey that's much more pleasant, much more enriching, and much more soul enhancing than just I've made money and I've done something financially. Okay, so on a spiritual level and on a deeper emotional level, which is key, because emotion is key to everything. It's important to make sure that you build a wonderful team around you. Okay. And that's the conclusion on this point. But I do want to bring into check this slide here. The reason I do that is because how we build connection, despite the fact there are many elements in building connection, and I work with my clients on understanding your values, understanding what's driving you, understanding how to create communication and influence through rapport building and awareness, and through understanding how other people, how others operate, creating this understanding between perception, projection, and the fact that our map is not the territory for everybody. These are all things that I train leaders and executives in so that they can enhance their success, and that's part of my high performance team training. But this particular slide is important because it is the epicenter of everything in our life. And if we want to build great teams around us, we want to be operating above the line. And I'll say that to people, and as my clients get to know me, I'll just look at them and go, are you below or above the line right now? And they get it. Okay. Above the line, we are taking ownership for everything. We're taking accountability. We're taking responsibility, and we've got a how mindset. How do we get things done? And it's called being at cause. I cause everything in my life. No one else. I'm the Capitan of this ship. It can be quite a strong shift for a lot of people who have spent time blaming the past or other things that have occurred in their life. And for some, it's a tougher journey because of experience that they've had. And that's something that I help with through NLP techniques to overcome that, so we can get into at cause and start focusing on what we're moving towards, okay? At effect, which is below the line, which can be having a moving away personality. You are at blame, excuses, denial. You're always giving reasons rather than solutions. Okay. Why? Why is this happening to me? Why didn't this work? It's a different why, this one, by the way, than the one I used earlier. You can see where it's different. And I encourage you to assess right now, as a business owner or a leader or a potential business owner or leader, where are you on this line? We all have moments when we drop below the line, and that's a fact. If there's somebody there that says that they operate above the line all the time, please reach out to me, because I'll need you to be my coach. We all have moments, but assess it, because again, and if I use this random number, it happens to just correlate, but 90% of the time you want to be above the line. It's fundamental that you're operating above the line 90% of the time. So you're operating on, hey guys, how can we make this better? And it's got the acronym there, OAR, or you're in charge. Hey guys, let's look for solutions here. I'm trying to create outcomes. I'm looking forward to where I'm headed. I can see the future. I can see my vision and mission clearly. I'm at cause. Can you see how that links to a business plan? Because I can assure you, if you're operating without a business plan, you will sink below the line much more often. Okay. enough said on that one. And let's now move to the next part as we start to wind this down into these last three sections, the business how. Sorry, the last two sections. Part 4, the business how. And clearly this is about getting more processed, focused. If you can't describe what you're doing as a process, you don't know what you're doing. You know, W. Edward Deming had a very blunt way of describing his philosophy in business. He came from a technical background, from memory, an engineering, science-related background, and therefore his style of advisory and leadership was very blunt. But you know what? It worked. And more importantly, there's a strong truth in understanding that process is key to making a vision and a mission reality. Yeah, it's the nuts and bolts. So I want you to spend some time, and again, I'm going to go through this rather quickly here because these are all things that you'll have to reach out to me for more details on. And I don't specialize in marketing or sales, by the way, but I do, again, help with giving awareness and giving clients a fundamental foundation so they can then either empower themselves to learn more about this, or, which I love most, delegate this task and outsource someone else to do what they can't do, which is key for me in business growth. It helps you work on rather than in. So the nuts and bolts, marketing systems and processes. So understand how you're going to go from leads through to sales. And then understanding the sales system and process, which is when you're sitting in front of someone and selling, what are you doing? You know, what's your sales techniques? What are your communication methods? What are your follow-ups? Production system and process, pretty obvious, how you create your product or service and how you deliver it. Distribution systems and processes, how do you get your product or service out to the masses? Okay, so you're connecting your product to the customer and you're assessing whether you're building alliances and partnerships that can distribute your good or service, okay? So spend some time in this place, build some basic process guidelines for each of these categories. And I just want to say this here right now, for this and for everything that I've done so far up to this point in this training, and for the last part that's coming, I warmly advise that you start with the most basic of one, filling each one at a paragraph level. You know, don't get stuck thinking each section has to be pages or a behemoth. Start with a basic framework for all of this, fill it in, and you've started. You've got your business plan. It's better than the one that you had, which was nothing. And then build it and build it and build it over the next months and years ahead, okay? And by the time 5 years comes, your business plan will be an amazing document that is an asset, a valuable asset to anybody that's coming to purchase your business. They will truly value this plan. And you know, this part here, these processes all become effectively the manual of your business, okay? And you noticed earlier on in the how part and the with who part, we spoke about having HR systems, and in that you would have built your HR processes as well, okay? So how do we make it happen? You know, having process and systems allows innovation and creativity to become a reality. And there are two elements to that. The first one is a dream is never going to get anywhere without having a process and a system to put it into place. The second part of that, and what Steve Jobs was great at, is once you establish your core processes and systems, it allows you to innovate more effectively because you have a visual starting point that you can refer back to understand what you are doing and improve it. Whereas if you're trying to improve everything from a point of assumption, or from a point of intuition, or from a point of just shifting your processes based on physically doing it through trial and error, it's not going to give you the best measuring points of this is where we were, now we're going to create a different process or system, we're going to innovate, we're going to keep developing. And that's why this is also key. Okay. And now we're on to the final part. This is the final part on the business plan, the final category in the way I'm doing it. And this category is not small, it is quite large. Again, for today's purpose, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but it is the fundamental part of what I said earlier. You've got to have focus, intention, direction. And the business win is creating deadlines, time periods, time frames. And when you do that, you crystallize a sense of goals, objectives, targets that become inherent in how you operate as a business owner, and therefore you start to deliver. You start to deliver various parts of your plan. So the key part is delivery, and when am I going to deliver these things? If you start with a vagueness, if you don't have a perceptual time framing, if you're constantly operating with too high a flexibility without having some rigidity, because it's important to balance that in business, you got to have some rigidity, frameworks, and defined time frames. If you're completely flowing, you're going to get blown with the wind. Through this process of creating when, you crystallize your truth of your business in a defined time frame. So if I say to myself, by the year 2025, I'm going to be operating a business that turns over $2.5 million, I've created reality today. Okay. And I love what Zig Ziglar says. I use this all the time. People often go, what? What did you just say? But if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every single time. Okay. And, you know, this key little infographic, or whatever you want to call it, this key little image is the truth. What you focus on is what you get, to the exclusion of everything else. So if I'm a Ford man, I will create all the beliefs necessary to show me that Ford is the best, and that Holden, despite its demise, absolutely sucks. Okay, and I'll create that reality, and I'll create all the beliefs behind it. What you focus on becomes your reality, to the exclusion of all those other things around there that are potentially reality, but you won't see it. So through a when targeted business plan, you create a very clear reality, and you'll start to exclude everything else that you don't want. However, if you don't do that, your reality becomes too wide, and it becomes washy. And this can be real, and this can be real, and this can be real, and your business doesn't create momentum forward. You want a clear focus that becomes your reality, and you drive forward. And hence, the when part is all about numbers, date numbers, financial numbers, human resource numbers. So this is what's great about this, and you can see this is much more detailed here. So I'll let you absorb that as I'm talking. But the main categories I've put there is, you want to create project timelines, you know, a Gantt chart or something of that nature, which creates the outcome deadlines and the first one is your business plan. By the 31st of August, yes, you can do it. The business plan is done. By the 30th September, X is done, and so on and so forth. By 2021 conclusion, we have opened up our second office. Create project timelines. And that ties in with the significant events and dates, creating that link between those two, the timelines and then the dates. You need those two really work hand in hand. And take it back and create a summary of your formation costs. What is it going to be, what's going to be required on a financial level to make this project initiate to the point where I'm ready to make my first sale? And that's your formation costs. Then create a 24-month income and expense cash flow forecast, monthly, weekly even, daily if you want. What is it going to be? Detailed breakdown of my ins and outs. And of course, the first part of that cash flow will be your formation period. So there'll all be money going out, money going out, money going out. And then here we are 3 months later, money comes in, 24 months in. The next one is creating actual versus budget habits. And what that means is every month, know what your income and expenses were and measure that against the forecasted income and expenses and do a comparison, actual versus budget. Do it, assess it line by line. And this is what's key here. Look at the variances. Some variances may be immaterial, but other variances may be key, and they are part of the key drivers of your business. And you can investigate the variance, understand what the key influence is behind that variance, and find ways to resolve that challenge. What's beautiful about this is it crystallizes very focused points that you're looking at on your document. And through that, you can create a key assessment. Okay, this is out, therefore I'm going to check here. I'm going to quickly try and share a screen with you. I didn't think of doing that, but I'm going to try and do that now. But just before I do, I'll talk about the funding schedule. Funding schedule is pretty simple. Understand where your money is going to come in to keep the project alive. Is a super key. Cash is king in business. No cash, no oxygen. So creating a funding schedule, becoming acutely aware of when you need injection of capital, allows you to not be operating with a fear that I'm going to run out of money, I'm going to run out of money, I'm going to run out of money. And that fear drives unhealthy behavior in your business, because you stressed about constantly managing cash flow creates this little gremlin inside of you that others sense. Customers sense it, desperation. Your staff sense it, you're being a bit tight, or you're being a bit short-tempered, or you're being a little bit, I need to get this job in, so let's drop this one and do this one, so you're being distracted. It doesn't create the best leadership state. Calmness, creativity, focus. These come from the ability to be in a state that isn't fearful. Okay, you want to have courage, and you want to have a sense of internal balance, Zen, mojo. So having a funding schedule allows you to understand and pre-plan where am I going to need money, and making plans for that, whether they are through the banking model, whether they through a private equity model, whatever it might be. And understanding the different costs related to that funding is important. Okay, I can help with all these guys. And as I said, I just want to quickly share a different screen. So as I quickly bring that up, just absorbing what I have mentioned today. And let me bring this up for you. Okay. Okay, so, if we look at something like this, and let's see if this works out now. It's the most recent one I've done with a client, and I hope it's okay that I'm sharing this. I've taken their name out. Okay, so let me share this with you now. New share, that's right, Mr. Screen. Let's do a new share, please. Let's see if this works. I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, guys, so this is the an actual versus budget kind of share. Okay, so what you've got here is the different incomes and the different expenses that a business may incur. Okay, and for example, for the month of July, we have estimated this many sales, and I always like to use a unit of sales, my first line of the budget. How many pens will I sell? How many clients will I see, units, and then the income and so on and so forth. Then we plug in the actual that happens at the end of the month. So July now, we will now assess it. We sit down in August, we enter the July period, and we then look at the outcome. For this particular client, I sit with them every quarter, and that's reasonable for a small business. So at the end of September, I'll sit with them and we go through this specifically. And in this column here, we'll look at the variances. So let's say for July that actually the training income was 30,000, and that the units actually were realised were only 7. So we're very quickly looking at this going, we only had 7, we were 7 short, and this was 30 below. So we have a strong discussion about what's the key driver behind that occurring? Was it that we had great amount of prospects, but we didn't convert leads? Or did we have no leads? And we start to assess that to create focused, solution-based discussions so we can achieve the what and when that we plan to do. Okay. As I said, I wasn't planning on sharing that, so that was a quick look at an actual versus budget. I'd like you to just consider that and make a decision if you think that this is for you. So guys, back to me here. Actually, before we do, I will check in. There is one more slide I feel that we were going to look at. So just sharing this one more moment. Yeah. So as we understand that now, deadlines reap results. When you can measure your performance, then you can start celebrating rewards and achievements. And this is part of the suggestion I have for all clients is create a celebration process in your business. Always plan to reward those around you for the achievement of goals and targets. And when you've created a business plan, you're able to more clearly communicate the goals and targets to your staff, and then or your strategic allies, and then share with them the moments that you've achieved those targets. If you don't, you can have structured, specific, useful conversations about how we can do better, what could we do differently, and therefore how can we become who we plan to be. And then if you have reached it, well, celebrate, man. Get on a boat, get yourself and your staff out there on a boat, or go bowling, or do whatever it takes, but celebrate often your successes, because the universe listens to when you celebrate and it says, oh, we took them to the right place. Whereas if you don't celebrate, the universe says, he's not happy here. So really, we might have not done the right thing by giving him all this success. Let's not give it to him anymore. Something to think about there. Yeah, celebrate, reward, and within that is creating the KPI system, so on and so forth, to reward those around you. A lot more that I can go through with you, and it's something that I can go through with you on a one-to-one basis, or as in a training for your leaders, or for a pre-coaching before you begin your business. That way you begin on the right foot and not just blow a whole bunch of funding in the wrong direction. Okay, guys. So just recapping the 5 main elements: the business why, define your vision; the business what, defines the mission; the business who, makes you understand all the stakeholders around you; the business how, building the processes; and the building when, having a forecasting system. Yeah. Yeah, so that was it, and that was what I wanted to share with you today in this brief workshop. I hope that you get some value out of that as a starting point of the philosophy behind a business plan, the philosophy that success really is all about intention, focus, direction, and that we require motivation through being focused on what we need to move towards. And as a business owner, it's just fundamentally important to be operating above the line. Yeah. And a business plan helps all of these things come to place, and they help you to focus so you can create the reality you want. Yeah. And I feel that the failure rate that occurs in small businesses, 90% plus, is so disappointing when you know that you've got a genuinely great product that you're putting to market, something that you're passionate about, something that we would all benefit from if you get there, but it doesn't happen, not because of your lack of motivation or passion, but just at one point in time, the lack of direction and fundamental skills of how to make the money go the furthest that a business plan can help you with, and a coach can help you with. So I hope you got some value out of today. Okay, I was happy to share this, and I love business. I love everything to do with business. As I said, I retired in 2017, but I couldn't stay in retirement because I realised that one of my key drivers is creativity. And although I play music in a band and I do other things for creation, I love creating business. And so I'm sitting here in the Hypno Hut where I do hypnosis for weight loss, so on and so forth. And I have Leader House, which is the business that the platform through which I train executives, business owners and their teams to create greatness. And my belief is that success isn't about how high you climb, but it is about how many you take with you along the way. So enjoy your journey in business, bring a troop up with you on that journey, and have fun with it. Okay, reach out. Hey, let's get these 5 fundamentals going. Reach out. Let's work together on this. Okay. Thanks for listening. This has been Mark, your executive coach and trainer from Leader House. Bye for now. Yeah, I can work out how to hit stop.